Hey everybody, Mike at Carbonite Lab, back with another fresh video update. This is my Warlock Counsil. So, quick history on these guys. I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down. So the Warlock Counsil that I have here, I've had for quite some time. And these models I picked up a little at a time, sometimes 2 or 3 at a time. But they're all used. Every single one of them is old metal sculpt. And I've had them for a long time. When I first got into the hobby, when I first started playing Eldar, it was Bale Hand style with Aspect Warriors. The first two I picked up are these two over here, which are my Bale Hand Warlocks. Those are the first two I ever painted. This being the first one I ever painted here. He was kind of my starter piece, and then I did the other Bale Tan guy back here. And then recently I was driving home one day, because I've been thinking about the Warlocks, you know, what to do with these things for years, because I never had the rest of them painted up. Some of them were just primered purple the way I got them, some of them didn't have any paint at all, some of them needed glue chipped off, whatever. So I left them unpainted for years, and from time to time my mind would drift back to these Warlocks and what to do with them, because I've got them unpainted, and I've been trying to get everything that I've got painted up. So one day it came to me, and I had this epiphany when I was driving home. And I was thinking about the Warlocks, and I was thinking about, aside from battle, their role in the political realm of the craft worlds. So here's the way it plays out in my head. Eldar Warlocks are also just like emissaries or ambassadors to other craft worlds. So let me set this up. The Samhan craft world is floating in space. And on that craft world are representatives from the nearby other Eldar craft worlds. In this case, you know, they send out 2 Warlocks from Iyanden, 2 Warlocks from Elfway, and 2 Warlocks from Bale Tan to the Samhan craft world. And they're there doing their typical Eldar Warlock Seer Counsil-y stuff. And then one day, the call comes in, the drumbeat awakens, and the Warlock's blood pressure rises as they feel the beat of war in their heart. And since they were once Aspect Warriors, it's easy for them to just transition into a Warlock Counsil right there and go to war. So that's how it plays out in my head. I guess if it's a craft world, it's at war, I would see more than just the solid color of matching Warlock Councils that are out there. There would be a mixture of different Warlocks that are in there from different craft worlds. I would even suspect the same thing with the Farseers as well. In fact, I have a few metal Farseers I need to paint up, and I've already thought that I'm going to do it in the same kind of style as though they were ambassadors from different craft worlds. So I'll paint one up in the Samhan, one up in the Bale Tan, and an Elfway. You get it. Of course, the Elfway representative is going to be Eldar. He's going to be the man. So, getting sidetracked here. Let's talk about these real quick. My 2 Samhan representatives, I painted them up pretty much the same, with the exception of I changed the robes, the striping on the robes on all of them actually. I kept it different. But aside from that, look at the 2 Witchblades. The one on the right is painted with the airbrush, the one on the left is painted with a brush. The one on the right, the airbrush, is going for more like a really shiny metal, and it started to make me think about what if I could do like a blue crystal kind of look, and that's what I was going for on the Warlock to the left. This guy's runes extend to the rear of the robe. Put the decal on there. He's the only one that actually got the decal, mainly because I figured I could pull it off with the white runes around the robe, and it would just kind of blend in and not look as obvious, because sometimes it's hard to match the color of the actual decal itself, especially once it's laid down, clear coated, the color will change. So at any rate, let's get a quick look at the rear of this guy. Sounds funny, but his striping just has like a script that's been filled in. His stripe is, I believe, the only one that goes to the full bottom edge of the robe. I think everybody else's stops just before the edge of the robe. Matter of fact, let's pull these guys aside. Let's look at this guy. This one was the first one I ever painted. The first Warlock I ever owned, in fact. So I was probably into the hobby 3 months when I painted this guy. So you can see the white is clumpy. You know, I hadn't really learned yet about thinning my paints as much. There's not a whole lot of highlighting. I did dare the white stripe with the robe, but he's pretty basic. And I keep him around painted just like he is for 2 reasons. One, it reminds me of how far I've come and how far it's typical. You know, you paint for a while and you start to learn things, and your paintings are always getting better. But I keep them around also, so that way as I'm painting these other guys, I go back in and I see that a detail I tried on a different Warlock works, and I'll just drop it in on this guy. Thus the edging around the top of his helmet where it goes from white to black. A little gray highlight there. Didn't do that the first time. As I was doing, I think the Oathway guy made me think of it, so I went back in and did it on him. Let's look at the second Warlock I ever painted. Again, you can see that the white is thick and clumpy. No stripe, but I was really trying to figure out how to paint with white at this time. Too much paint in the brush, not enough water, you know, mistakes you make as a young painter. But I tried a little bit more of the shading on the robes, and I think I was using this also to get used to painting all these gems, which as an Eldar player or painter, you know exactly what I'm referring to. Here's our Oathway representative. This guy is really cool. I think his sword came out probably the best as far as that blue crystal look I was going for. His stripes I kept basic because you're trying to cover black, so I didn't want to get too crazy. But I did go ahead and drop in bigger runes on his robes. And I did a little freehand there with the Eye of Isha, which is really just the Eye of Horus from Egyptian. And I put some big runes in the back of the robe, because I wanted to make some bigger ones, because everything else I'd done has been small. So I did that. Let's put him over here. This guy, his band was widened at the bottom, so bigger runes could go in there, and I used a different color to edge that white band of blue. He got the airbrush treatment on the wishblade. I think it's kind of cool that some of these Warlocks have like unique features. Like this guy has got the pelt on the back. You know, some of them don't have it. Some of them have the head tassels. Some of them don't have it. So that's him. And this guy came out pretty cool. I played around with this guy a little bit more, and I decided to try some runes on the staff. The highlighting was a little off. I think I should have used a little bit more of a subtle color, or went with a brown instead of the black. But you know, it's all about learning, right? I tried a different design on his robe with the stripe. Really simply, it was a white stripe that I filled in with black. That was the easiest way to paint it. But I did have fun with his face. I put some flames on his helm, gave him the clockwork orange kind of, you know, one eye lock socket has lashes, and then just extended his pattern to the rear. He was pretty fun to paint. He came out pretty good. So there are all my Warlocks that are all painted up and stuff, and I wanted to share these with you just because I like you guys, and because you're willing to indulge me, I'd like you just to play along. Perhaps because of some hidden mark that Cain has left on their soul, those seers who have trained as aspect warriors find it easier to develop destructive psychic powers. Known as Warlocks, these individuals become their warrior-seer selves by returning to their old shrines. If his blood sings with the need to fight, a Warlock accepts his mask and recreates the twofold division of the mind into self and warrior. In battle, Warlocks often lead from the front, splitting off from their seer councils and casting the runes of battle to bolster the war host and to bring havoc to their enemies. Few can match the arcane might of an Eldar Warlock in the midst of a battle trance, his destructive aura crackling outward to destroy those foes beyond his reach. I think that's a pretty cool paragraph from the Codex. So I thought I would share that with you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video about my Warlocks. Have any comments, please put them down below. Otherwise, we will talk to you next time.